Hi, my name is Brendan Radabaugh, and I will be your host for this Orlando Regional Workshop Series. Thank you to the Orange County government for sponsoring this series. Today I have Stacy Jones, Joyce Walters, and Crystal Martz with me. They're key delivery partners for the FLL programs, and they're able to help talk to us about the Global Innovation Challenge. Stacy, can you tell me more about the Global Innovation Challenge?
Right, thanks for having us. We really appreciate your being here. So basically, it's a real world problem, and that relates to the season's theme, and which is First Game Changers, powered by Star Wars Force for Change this year. And they need to design a solution to that problem and build a business model and deliver a pitch. And that is, basically part of the awards, and it's extremely important that we have a problem and a solution, and it has to be innovative. That's the key word for this year.
And Joyce, for the Global Innovation Challenge, what are some of the things that the teams will need to think about during their production and trying to figure out what they're going to pitch to the judges?
Okay, something new or change something that's already in existence. Definitely go after the information that first was given you in regards to the finding the solution for regaining or achieving optimal physical or mental health and fitness through active play or movement. So you definitely want to fit in everything that you want to in that area.
Okay, Crystal, for the challenge itself, do you know anything that would differ between the LEGO League teams and the FRC teams?
Yes, so with FRC teams, you guys really need to make sure you have a tight business plan and that you guys are ready to present to your judges, because it will be live. Now, something that LEGO League teams have to do is they go through a bunch of judging panels, or they get judged at an event. So for FRC this year, you guys, it is different for you. So please plan to do your presentation live, practice, and really make sure you guys have that marketing plan within your business plan, because that will really help you on that presentation side.
And Stacy, so what would be an example? What was your favorite LEGO League presentation that you remember?
Well, we actually were very, very lucky. I have a team called the Stallions here in Martin County, and they actually went all the way through their Global Innovation Award and came in first runners up. So they got a patent, and they have a wonderful legacy here in Martin County. So what they did was they found a problem. It was during the trash truck season. And their problem was, as they were sitting there eating their bags of chips for their snack, what do you do with bags of chips? It wasn't a really recyclable item. Basically, you would just throw them away. So they thought of some way that we could use these bags of chips that they could, new and exciting and innovative. And they were able to find some experts, and they were able to figure out a way to make those chips into insulation for your walls of your house. And it actually did, and they did get a patent. So we have a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds at the time running around with patents. They won the $5,000 Innovation Award at that time, and they were able to really make a name for themselves. And I am very, very blessed that two of those kids are on my SPAM robotics team, and they're amazing young men that really made a difference back when they were in middle school, and they continue to make a difference today.
So that comes up with a good point. That means that if you have students that were LEGO League students in the past, they probably would be really good at this program, at this award, as an FRC student.
Exactly, and that was the best part, that when they came into the FRC team, they actually, with First Robotics Competition team, they actually kind of set this up when this came out, and they were like, oh, this is a business plan. This is something that is very easy for our First Robotics Competition team to do. And it just taking it to a new level, and that's pretty much what they did.
Joyce, what would be your favorite of the ones that you've judged in the past?
Oh, so I've actually gone to the Global Innovation Award event for 2 years with First, volunteering as a team welcome organizer and manager. So I actually got to see the semifinalist top 20. And one of them that I actually was able to bring home something to use at my house with was they actually gave out little discs that they made out of recycled paper and stuff and put microgreens in it for the space. So that was like one of my favorite ones that I was actually, given a sample to actually utilize that year.
So you're saying free samples.
Yeah.
Crystal,
But that was memorable. They gave me something as a volunteer that I was able to take home with them. I mean, they weren't really one of the finalists, but they were top 20. And it was very interesting to see what they came up with.
and what was the theme of the game that year? Do you remember?
That one was to help with space exploration. And so the microgreens were for helping the astronauts eat in space.
Okay, so
Trying to get to Mars, you want to have that long distance.
so you would say maybe try to theme toward the event to kind of make it more fun for everybody?
Yes, that'll be nice.
And Crystal,
Go
ahead, Stacy.
Crystal, go ahead, Stacy.
Sorry, dear. That's what you need to identify, the problem that has to focus on this year's game. If the team that did Into Orbit and they focused on something else, such as a great place to play, that doesn't fit the theme. This year's theme is about games and about making sure that people are getting out and exercising and energizing and keeping mental health, which is huge right now. We have so much research, so you need to check with, keep it onto what the game theme is about.
Okay, and Crystal, what would be an example of your favorite submission?
Yes, so we had in Central Florida last year a team named Rough Robotics who submitted something that would actually help animal shelters in case of a fire. What they found was that it took a lot of time for kennel operators to go through and actually physically open the kennels in the event of a fire, and you need to evacuate really quickly. They created a mechanism that could be easily lifted one and done and get all of the animals out safely. And they had actually taken that through. They did a prototype. They worked with fire marshals. They worked with local kennels. They installed it in a couple of them. They started the patent process. And so that's another important step I think students should be looking at for their project or innovation challenge, I should say, that they can, start patenting it. To Stacy's point earlier, it needs to be innovative, unique. Really look through that research of, does something already exist? How can you improve it if you want to do that? Those are the kind of aspects that really came up with their project that I think would serve FRC teams really well to think about.
And Crystal, what kind of presentation would you recommend? Would it be like a PowerPoint or a skit, or what do you recommend the teams use to talk to their judges?
Honestly, the most engaging thing that you can come up with. If a PowerPoint is involved, that's totally fine if you want to show some, stats or, something crazy that will get somebody's attention. Because essentially what I saw in the requirements, you need to summarize your project in 10 words. That is a very small limit. So your 10 words, the first things that come out of your mouth when you're presenting should be those 10 words, and they should be attention grabbing. It should be something that easily conveys your project, and then you can go into the details. And if you do something like a skit, you're more likely to be remembered, and it'll help you guys stick. If you have crazy costumes, if you have the samples to give away, if you are going to play off a skit that's like a game show parody, or you pretend to be in Shark Tank, all of those things will serve you guys really well. It'll help you stand out. It'll help you show that you've done all of the pieces that are required to be selected in that final 20 group, and then hopefully more towards the top.
Unfortunately, it might be hard to give free samples over Zoom, but we can still try to see what's going on. Okay, Stacy, what actually are they having to submit for this award?
Okay, so they have to have the 2 contact emails. So those are your mentor emails. They have to tell the time zone so that the judges do know when to come and talk to you. I've actually done judging, and it was I think they were in China and I was not. And it was a very interesting conversation, very early in the morning for them. They have to have the project described, like Crystal said, in 10 words, which is extremely difficult. I mean, you got to get your point across. An executive summary. The executive summary describes the problem or the opportunity, and then focuses. That's only 200-word limit, so that's very, very short also. And then you have to describe what the team is proposing to solve that problem or the opportunity, another 200-word limit. And the final thing is what technology, because this is first robotics competition and first tech challenge, you have to have technology in there. And so what technology the team used or is planning to use in designing the innovative solution. So that's only 100 words. So it's very, very short. And you're not allowed to include links or go to another, get somebody into a different website or maybe your app. So it's extremely difficult to put your point across. But I think, first, we can come up with something really, really interesting and very, very cool. I think it would be, I can't wait. I'm so jealous because, I get to see friends that are judging this, and I think it would be amazing to judge this. So very exciting to see what comes up out of this.
So just to put you on the spot, because it'd be fun, in 10 words or less, how would you describe the Game Changer Challenge?
Okay, hold on. Let me think.
I'll give you a moment to think. While you're thinking,
I'm
Crystal,
thinking, good.
Crystal, I'll have you think about it too. Joyce, can you tell me how we can submit these awards?
How you can submit them? I didn't deep dive into that, but definitely make sure that you're reading the 4.2 in your first robotics competition manual. That gives you all the details in regards to what's going on.
So I'll switch with Joyce. Joyce, you come up with it, and I'll tell you how to submit. How's that?
Whatever you need, Stacy.
Let me tell you how to submit while Joyce is thinking. Okay. In order to be eligible for the at-home challenges, teams must upload submission in English through the FRCathome.org portal. Lead coach mentors, either one or two, can retrieve their team access code from the registration system and complete the following steps. And there are multiple ones. Okay, here we go. On the team dashboard, go to Team Options selection, click on Payment and Product. Click on Passwords, Vouchers, and Codes. Locate the 12-character code listed under first/FRC at home key, and it begins with an F. And 2021 First Robotics Competition. And the team should use that code on the FRCathome.org portal for submission instructions.
Okay.
Only one team per entry.
So we'll go back to Crystal. You have plenty of time. In 10 words or less, how do you explain the Game Changer Challenge?
Is this what Joyce was getting time on?
Oh, yes. You had plenty of time.
Yes. I think I can go if you need me to go.
Sure,
Okay.
Yeah.
Get me to move for my physical activity and mental health with active play.
Very nice. Very nice.
With technology.
That was
Using
12,
technology.
That was 12, but you were close enough.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't counting.
And Stacy, what are the deadlines that we have for these awards?
Glad you asked. Give me a second.
I have my 10 words.
Well, wait. Okay, Crystal, what are your 10 words for the Global Game Changer Challenge?
Okay, so using technology, how can we increase physical activity? Question mark.
And mental health.
Well,
No,
with
but
that,
then
that's
would be
11. But
11 words. So
I know. I can't do it. That's why I'm saying I can't do it.
And then does question mark actually equal 2 words?
it would take place. That's why I was like, haha, those are my 10.
There you go.
okay,
So
Stacy,
the
what are our deadlines
Ready
that we
for
have?
this? The deadlines. There are deadlines in life. Everybody knows that. So Thursday, by 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, March 4th, you have to have this turned in. So, I mean, it's very limited time. It's only another week, 2 weeks. So yeah, it needs to be turned in. And then for those teams that go on, you'll be notified. And that's the semifinalist team, which is that's a privilege to be nominated and as a semifinalist. And that's April 21st. So yeah, you have some time, but there is, a lot of information that you have to do, a lot of things you're going to have to do if you become a semifinalist. Don't ask me what, it's a lot.
Joyce, any final remarks about the challenge or about the award process that you want to give to the students?
Well, one of my suggestions would be to reach out to your sponsors or mentors to see if they have or know somebody who does technical writing, because the technical writing part will come into play, especially when you're a semifinalist, and helping you finalize your business plan and all the documentation you'll need in the technical aspect, because that's what the USPTO and the judges are going to be looking for.
Okay. And Crystal, what do you recommend some key points that the students should be pointing out during the presentation?
Yeah, really focus on research that you've done and cost. Make sure you know your cost for implementing your solution, and be engaging because you want to be remembered.
And we'll go back to Stacy. What are any remarks that you might want to let students know about the award?
Well, most important thing, and just a continuation of that, of what Crystal was saying, you want to be remembered, but you also want to be remembered for doing it well. Okay, you don't want to be remembered for being silly, but you need to have experts. Get your experts. If you're talking about games, you need to have an expert in games. You need to have somebody that is, that plays that sport or does that or lives there or does the civil engineering. Find an expert. That is what judges are looking for. And what I think is, what is meaningful to you and your team and yourself. And also think about other people who don't have the what you have. I mean, maybe they have, low, not visually impaired, or maybe they have physically impaired. Think about other people and how they will react to your solution.
And Joyce, the business plan that we have to submit, can you tell me more about that?
Oh, not for first robotics competition.
Well, for Lego League, what do they usually submit? Maybe that can help us out.
Okay, so for Lego League, they actually have written questions that they actually have to fill out, just like First Robotics Competition does for all their awards that they submit. So make sure you follow those guidelines. Make sure you follow those word limits. Because if you go over that, most likely, like any sponsor would do for a grant, not give it to you because you didn't follow the rules. So I would say follow the rules, follow your limits. It's word counts, not characters. So there is a difference when you're submitting chairmans and you're submitting your innovation award information.
And Crystal, any key points that you want to go over for the award submission?
Not for award submission, but I did have, because Stacy is awesome and had included a tips and tricks slide for us in our notes. I did want to go ahead and mention the tips and tricks part. There's a First Innovation Challenge Expert Education Series, and they are going over the business plan, and they're going over, let me look at this really quick because it has a whole list. Pitch advice, business model education, intellectual property, careers in innovation, product development, and using CAD to show design. So I would definitely take advantage of that series. And I'll just list the website really quick. info.firstinspires.org/innovation-content-series. So I highly recommend that when developing your presentation and your package to be submitted.
Okay, and Stacy, so for the package submission, do you have any recommendations for the business plan?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, business plan. You talk to an expert, talk to someone who has their own business. The business council in your county, they're a wealth of information and wealth of knowledge. Small Business Bureau. Have a logo. Every team has a logo. Well, put that onto your business plan. You have to have something that's your elevator pitch. We always push the elevator pitch. You need to have that elevator pitch, that business pitch. Okay. And, very quick. I think we usually say, 30 seconds, 1 minute, and a 5 minute. So have that. Have a description on the impact of what you think that your innovative solution will have. That's what's all very important about all of this. No man's an island. So, tie this all together nicely into a business plan. And your judge at that 2 minute when you're doing the pitch, they might ask you, do you have something else that this will continue? And you always say, yes, we have a plan. Never say, oh, no, I don't think so. We always have a plan. And, just follow what it says and always believe you're going to be a semifinalist. You are going to get to that next level. If you're going to get that next level, you need to have it ready and prepared. And that's first. So just be prepared to earn your next level.
Joyce, do you have anything to add on to the business or anything to add on to that statement?
Well, yeah, because Global Innovation Award has been out since 2010 for First Lego League Challenge. Reach out to your First Lego League Challenge teams in your area and see what they've done, how you can, work with them and get some ideas from them since they've been doing it for a very long time.
And there is a list of winners on the website. I know those teams, and they would love to share their knowledge. So reach out to them also.
And meaning the website, Stacy, you mean on the First Robotics website?
There is a Global Innovation Award website, yes.
Okay. And how would we reach out to other Lego League teams? How could we find one in our area?
Okay, so I'll take that one. So you reach out to your program delivery partner in your area, and they're all very helpful people who love answering questions. And that's us.
You can find us through the contact. If you go to firstinspires.org and you go to the, where is it? About Us, and oh goodness, I'm probably taking you to the wrong place, because it's at the bottom. It's find local support. So yes, go to firstinspires.org, scroll to the very bottom, do find local support, and then you'll be able to narrow down to Florida. And actually all of us for Florida are listed by program. So if you want to find the First Lego League partners, that is the spot to go to find all of our contact information. Are we keep talking?
That's awesome. Where you do that?
Well, I did look at the game manual again, because there is a difference in what you're submitting for just being in the running. That's your 10-word project described, and then you have your executive summary. But when you get into the additional requirements for semifinalists, and to Stacy's point, plan for being a semifinalist, right? You want to go for the end game. You want to get to that final top 20 and then get in there. So plan for semifinalists. So in your game manual on page 42, it has the additional requirements for semifinalists, and that's where you have that description for innovation impact, a description of the design, description of the business model. Are you guys going to make money? Are you a nonprofit? Are you manufacturing in-house? Who's manufacturing? How much does this stuff cost? All of those things need to be considered. And so it gives you more details of what they're looking for. And I would use those semifinalist requirements to go ahead and make through and think through all of your business plan.
Because you will get there. You will, because the groups are 20 to 30 teams that are being judged at the very beginning. You have a chance. You have a definite chance. If you have a really good idea, and that's what this is all about. This is going to the next level and taking it to the next level. So go for it. You've earned it. Go for it.
Yeah. And I would actually look at the semifinalist ones to prepare for your first set of information to go out. Because if it's something complicated, you might not be able to get all of it ready for this next level. You might want to figure out a different solution or a different idea that might be able to be easier for you to get to the final solution that you are going for.
That's a good idea. Steps. Okay, so March 8th is when they start doing those groups, and it is on your group, on your manual, your game manual. So, look on there, and they're going to determine on how they get the groups together. You'll be grouped with teams from all over the world. So it's not just going to be teams here in Florida. It's going to be everywhere. So, we have a really nice chance of earning that spot to getting into the semifinals and going on. And make sure that you follow what everybody's saying, but definitely follow the game manual. Don't think of something totally off that's not going to follow and the focus. So stay focused on what they're asking, the problem, and then a solution, and use technology. And I think that's a lot of fun. I hope everybody's doing it. Everybody should be doing it.
Yeah. Another thing that it can do is they can reach out to patent attorneys local in their area. They will be able to help them figure out if they want to do a provisional patent, which most first legally challenged teams, when they go to the semifinalist, actually sit there and say, I already applied for a provisional patent, and have a little, flag or something that they stick on their table at the events. So that may be another way to go, because they might have some technical background in the writing as well for your business plan that might take it to the next level.
And one of the other things that I've noticed is it's really hard to focus on what is a problem or an opportunity for this. So some of the things that we've done in the past that judges really love is surveys. We've got a bunch of really good ideas. We send out a survey either through social media or through all of our emails or through something, and we get kind of a judgment of where we should go or what's a good idea. And that's a really good way of focusing on what you're doing. Don't go with your big broad ideas. Go with something short and sweet and focused, because that you only have 10 words. So you can't solve all the problems in the world. You only got 10 words. So like Joyce said, keep it short and to the point. And like Crystal said, grab those attentions of the judges, because they're seeing 20 or 30 multiple teams. You want to get their attention.
And Stacy, how much research should we be doing? If there's another idea that is already out there, should we pick something else?
That's a really good thing about Global Innovation Awards. You don't have to pick something else. You just go to the next level. So take your idea and say it's the same thing as what somebody's already done or somebody's already thinking of. Well, how can we make this a little bit more? How can you take it over and make it yours? And you could say, when you're doing your research, we came up with this idea. We found there's something already like that, but we took it to the next level and we decided to do, add LED lights, or we decided to, pump it up and do all kinds of different activities with this one activity. So whatever it is, it's an opportunity to take it to the next level. Become an inventor. That's what this is. This is all about the engineering process.
Yeah, and I would actually make sure you find your key point. Who are you helping? Are you going to be focused on a broad, American, woman from age 30 to 40? Are you going to be working for somebody who's visually impaired? Is there a product out there that would be good for visual impairment, but it needs to be adapted? There's your different innovative way.
Ruth.
Crystal, do you have anything to add?
I think these ladies said it all. I would just reiterate, find the target audience, make sure you know exactly what you're improving or making more accessible or inclusive, how is it impacting the community? Those are really good points to that.
And Crystal, do you want to just go over the deadline real quick one more time for us?
Sure. So first deadline is going to be March 4th, and that is a Thursday. right? Yes, Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Do not miss that deadline, fam. And then next deadline, April 21st, and that's for teams advancing to semifinals. You'll be contacted by FIRST if you are in that group. But big deadline, March 4th, 3 p.m.
Okay. And because, Stacy, you keep saying that the presentations need to be memorable, what would be the most memorable presentation that you had that wasn't your favorite?
Oh, is it my favorite? They're all my favorite. Okay. The most memorable, I think it was the horses. There was one at Global Innovation Award, and they figured out that there was horses, and these horses were eating everybody's food. They were like little piggly horses. And so the kids came up with a way to keep the horses so that they can monitor what each of the horses were actually eating and monitor the, how they were in the field. Because, no one's going to sit out there in the field. So we actually had a kid that came in dressed up like, a horse, and he had a horse head. And it was, it was distracting at first, but then once you heard how these horses were really being affected and their health was being affected, you kind of like, oh, okay. And it did grab your attention. I think that was probably toward the end of my day. So it was like the last part, maybe the last first, 14th or 15th one that I saw. And it did catch my attention. And I remember that. And that was during Animal Allies. And so that was many years ago. But that one was probably my most memorable. Don't dress up like a horse, though. It was distracting. Not for this year's game. This year's game, you don't need a horse.
And for this year's game, do you recommend, if they are doing any costumes, would there be any intellectual property that we need to stay away from since it's Star Wars themed?
Ooh, that is a great idea. Yeah, try to stay away from Star Wars. My challenge team that I'm coaching is doing Glow Wars. Totally different than Star Wars. But it's okay. We're not using Star Wars. And it's Star Wars Force for Change. You got to use the whole theme. But yeah, I mean, we all love Star Wars, and this is a wonderful opportunity for these kids to get them excited about the innovation. So, yeah, I would stay away from, having Obi-Wan and Yoda in there, but I think everything else is pretty much game.
And Joyce, what presentation would stick out to you that might not be your favorite, but one that you just can't forget?
Oh, basically the most boring ones. They actually just do PowerPoints. They would bring the computer in, sit it in front of you, and go over their PowerPoint pointing at it. So as a judge, you're sitting there focused on the PowerPoint and nothing else. So you have to bring something to it to make it better, to make it, more yours, and to get the judges engaged with you. So if you're going to do a PowerPoint, make sure you have something that engages the judges to make sure that they remember you, other than us looking at a screen, because right now we're zooming in anyway. So we're looking at a screen 24/7. You've got to bring that impact to the judges.
And don't read it. Please don't read it. By all that is holy in this world, don't read your project. You should know this by your heart. You should be able to just say it. Please don't read it. I can read. I don't need you to read it for me.
Bring your passion, Stacy, right?
That's right, passion.
Yeah, we definitely want to see that the team actually likes what they've worked on.
And everybody's speaking. I think you can have 5 in the pitch. Yeah, everybody needs to talk. Everybody needs to have some kind of money in the game. They need to know what's going on, and they need to be passionate.
Yeah.
It's not, we want to hear everybody.
And since we want to hear everybody, Crystal, what would be a project that you listen to that wouldn't be your favorite, but one that you just can't forget?
I mean, I'm like Stacy, they're all my favorite. There's just always like various stages of polish that presentations are at. So I'm with Joyce, don't just stick something in front of somebody's face and like read it to them. We try to be smart cookies, and we don't need to read something with you. And that's part of the enthusiasm part, like everybody speaking, everybody wanting to do that. I mean, I liked this project, but what I really liked was the team had really thought through the production part of their solution. And, it came with the sample, which to your point earlier, we may not be able to do samples over Zoom, but maybe if you have something physical you can show. This was a soap bar, and it was for the Into Orbit year where the teams were trying to help with the hygiene of the astronauts. And so this soap bar helped save on liquid soap being taken into space, and it lasted a lot longer, and it was all out of natural ingredients, and they'd already produced some with a local business that they could bring and show to us and use, actually, and it was really cool. So I definitely I enjoyed that one because they were able to talk about their production. And that is a part in the business plan. So,
And can I give one little thing that we need? I think all of us agree on that is an app. Be very careful when you present an app. You need to know exactly what it takes to make an app, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars it takes. You need to know the details. Don't just say we're going to make an app for that. It has to have the research to go with that. That's probably the downfall of most high school teams. I think it's going to be. Apps are fabulous. We all love them, but it needs to have a purpose, and it needs to be more than just someone saying, oh, I made an app for that. Mm-hmm. It needs to be more.
Yeah, I think all three of us, having seen some of our teams already come through judging, we've seen a lot of apps. And not to discount the use of apps as your solution, but be very careful because that may not stand out to judges. At the end of the day, if there's like 15 out of 20 of the teams the judges saw are apps, you want to make sure if you do an app that it really stands out and it's a really strong presentation, because it's so easy to pick an app. It is one of the easier things. So I really encourage you guys to really critically think, what truly can we do outside of technology? Because think of the people who don't have access to technology. They may not be able to use your app to be more active, and then you're still at square one with how do we help people be more active, especially in the areas in our country that they may not have a cell phone, or they may not have a computer, or if they have a cell phone, it might be a flip phone that is not a smartphone. You really need to think through, like, before you just say, oh, an app is going to do it. Not everyone has access to that technology. And so I really encourage teams to think outside of the box from apps.
Know your audience. Know your audience and know who you're trying to, get to be moving and grooving. That's pretty much it. Apps are fine. Apps are great. Yeah. But it needs to go a lot further.
And do your research on the apps, because there are a lot of exercise apps out there right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one thing to look out for probably would be also to see what is on camera, right? You want to make sure that your background isn't going to have something distracting.
Yes, most definitely. And you can make a easy Zoom background, or if you have to use WebEx or something like that, you can actually make a virtual background so everybody looks the same when you're at the judges, and that way it makes the youth actually feel more comfortable too, because sometimes their locations aren't as perfect as everybody else's is, and then this way everybody will be uniformed and the same.
Well, thank you to Stacey Jones, Joyce Walters, and Crystal Martz, who are our Florida Program Delivery partners for the Orlando area. Thank you all for joining us today. And otherwise,
in South Florida.
Go South Florida, yes.
All the things.
Just Florida.
Just all of Florida.
All of Florida.
All of Florida.
All of Florida. My name is Brendan Radbaugh. I was your host for this series. Again, thank you for Orange County government for letting us get this set up, and the Orlando Regional for sponsoring us.
FIRST Robotics Competition is the world's landmark robotics competition for students.
In school, you read about stuff, but in FIRST as a whole, you actually go and do it.
In the beginning of January, the challenge comes out every year. Under strict rules and limited time and resources, you have to design, build, program, and test a robot.
There's no blueprint. We get a few rules and guidelines to follow, and then it's up to those students to find something that works.
There's nothing better than just seeing your robot on the field playing for the first time. They're all there like, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? And then when it works, it's the best feeling ever.
You have mentors that are actually in the field that can tell you, oh, this is why this works, and this is the science behind it. And you're like, oh, wow, that makes so much sense.
They do a great job, not just about STEM, but about life, how to go through college, how to go through, a tough, physics class.
At face value, FIRST Robotics Competition is a robot competition, but at the end of the day, it's so much more than that.
People ask me like, oh, you build robots? I says, no, we're really running a business and all the things that go along with that.
We deal with a lot of marketing, social media.
I've learned business sides of things.
Problem solving, working in groups.
I'm learning how to communicate with people, how to reach out to local businesses.
So we kind of have robotics as the starting point, but we branch out to different areas and expand.
So the ultimate goal every year is always to get to the FIRST championship.
The FIRST championship is basically like the Olympic for robots.
There's hundreds of teams from all over the world there, and you get to see some of the best teams that exist.
It's very competitive, but you're friends with the people that you're going against. It's like a sport, but in its own way, it's better than a sport.
Being part of FIRST, it's really changed my life and how I think about myself, how I think about others.
Participating in FIRST actually taught me that I'm capable of doing anything that I set my mind to.
FIRST has really inspired me to give back in my old elementary school. I'm trying to help their robotics program that just started this year. I want those kids to have the opportunity to learn about STEM.
As a participant in the FIRST program in high school, you get access to $80 million worth of scholarships.
There are scholarships for colleges, universities, as well as technical programs.
It also looks really good on the actual application to be on FIRST.
FIRST does a really great job trying to open programs to make sure that you can actually accomplish anything in STEM, no matter where you're from, your background, your language, or anything like that.
I really do consider myself part of the STEM community, and I couldn't be more prouder to say that.
FIRST Robotics Competition is one of 4 engaging FIRST programs that shows students unique challenges and helps them learn new engineering skills and real-world skills that'll help them in the future.
FIRST is the future.
FIRST is accomplishment.
FIRST is passion.
FIRST is inspiring.
FIRST is changing my story.